So, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Women Who Inspire webinar series. I'm Nihal Al-Busaidi, and I'm a part of the MENA Speakers team. Now, this series is basically an initiative by leading speakers and MC bureaus in the region. And part of MENA Speakers' role is basically to expand or increase the presence of expert female subject speakers in events all around the world. Now, we specifically chose the month of August to host this series because it gets closer to the date of the 28th of August, which is also known as Emirati Women's Day. Now, because of that, we have gathered several amazing, influential, powerful female speakers to come and share with us some of their speeches or talks. Now, we have a very special guest with us today, and her name goes by Dr. Abeer Rasbi, and she is going to be talking to us about grooming adaptable leaders. And before she can get started, I'd like to mention that there will be a Q&A at the very end, where you can leave your questions down in the little Q&A tab below. And there will also be an option to chat with our speaker through the chat box, so you can interact with her throughout the entire webinar series. Now, without further ado, please help me welcome Dr. Abeer. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Nihal, and welcome to everyone attending, and thank you for this opportunity. So let us start. I will share my screen so we get Okay, just give me 1 second to work with the technology. Okay, so let's start sharing. Okay, so Nihal, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, good, perfect. Okay, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for this opportunity by MENA Speaker to be part of this amazing ladies participating on this event. And thank you for the attendees who's joining us today. And hopefully this session will be light and informative with some of the information I will be able to share. Of course, I will not be able to give you a lot of information, but at least the basic information that you need to know about adaptable leadership and how to be one yourself. Before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Abeer Naajem Rasbi, and I have 2 passions in life that I just build myself around them, career-wise and certification and study-wise. So the first one is education. So I have a huge love for being around students, being in an educational institution, being in the education sector, and that's why I'm currently holding the position of Director of Students Leadership Department within Zayed University. So I'm around students for the past, let's say, around 12 years, between being a faculty teaching students or being in the admin position serving students with all means. So that's the passion that I love, being around students, supporting and helping and teaching and engaging with the students. The second passion I have in life is leadership, and that's why I am teaching leadership to my students within the university or previous and current university. Being in a position that is dealing with students' leadership, completing my PhD in educational leadership and management, training and giving sessions and workshops around leadership. So it's all about the passion that I'm in terms of leadership. So education and leadership are the 2 things that get me move on with my life and career. So let's start talking about adaptable leadership. And before we go on, I just need to take a small look around us and what's really happening in the world that we are living in now. It's changing, that's definite. The world is moving very dramatically, very dynamically, and very, very, very changing every day. a lot of things happening economic-wise, a lot of things happening in terms of blended learning within the universities and school now. A lot of things happening around moving on with delivery, online shopping, online communication, online meetings, online teaching, and all of these stuff. A lot of things happening around the medical world now with COVID-19 happening, and a lot of experiments and testing and trying to find a solution is happening around us. A lot of things happening around reaching Mars, and all of the things that happening around the intelligent and people who are working in all of these fields also need to be changed somehow, and how they are doing things, and how they are communicating, and how they are dealing, and how they are getting things around them. So the world is changing, and accordingly, we have to change as people, and we have to change as organization, and we have to change as leaders in the field that we are doing. Again, just looking around what happened for the past, let's say, 8 months from our life in this 2020. In January 2020, there are only 4 countries who have been impacted by COVID-19. So it was like in a small scale. Everybody was like, something is going to change, something is going to happen. We weren't really sure about what's going to happen and how life is going to change this dramatically. By March, when everybody was almost getting into the lockdown, more than 100 plus countries are impacted, almost the whole world were impacted by the COVID-19, and everything changed in a day. Everybody was locked down. More than 3 million people were under the lockdown. People were forced to work from home. The whole organization needed to change how they are doing their business, how they are communicating with their employees, how they are working to make sure that they are going to survive in this new reality, if we are going to say. Under all of this, with whatever happening, organization needed to understand that we need to have a new world is around us, and we have to accept that. We are going to have new rules, regulations, and policies and a procedure of doing things, and we have to accept that. And we need to have new leaders who really understand how to adapt to the new world and adapt to the new rules that we are going to have from now on, because nothing is going to be similar to what we had before January 2020. So the understanding of all these new things happening around us and how people are going to change the way of doing things, it's really important. And people need really to focus on what I'm going to do as a leader, and within my organization, how my organization is going to deal with this. Again, leaders and organizations. Leaders, organization, and employees within these organizations. So it's going to be a very difficult situation that they need to understand. They need to adapt to. They need to look at what is really offered, what is really happening, and how we can make sure that we are going to run as an organization, we are going to run as leaders within this organization, and the people within this organization are going to be able to reform and adapt to the new changes. Okay, so we have a past important things in our life that we use to as our reality, and we are going to have a new reality in our life, and that we have to deal with, and where we are with all of this as leaders. So I'm now going to go down to the leaders. I was just for the past 10 minutes, I was trying to give you the picture of the organization and the world around us. Now we are going to move to the leaders themselves and how they are going to work around all these changes happening around them. I always think of leadership as medicine. the medicine world that is happening around us. Within medicine practices, or within medicine world that is now also booming, to be honest, there are two processes that leaders need to think of and make sure that this is the core of the process, or this is the core of their life as a leaders, if I have to say that. The first one is diagnosing. So they need to understand, they need to observe, they need to look around, they need to make sure that to see what's really happening around them. And then the second one is the action. I observed, I gathered, I get what I need, and then how I'm going to react or act or actions required in terms of that. So it's two processes to make the operating of the leaders within any organization perform effectively and perform efficiently. They need to make sure that these two core processes are also moved on to their employees and staff and team, the people that they are working on. They need to start making sure that we look around, we diagnose. It's not anymore about a task or a project given to me as a leader or as an employee, and we have to work around it and deliver. We also need to put in the consideration the challenges now that we are facing with the new reality that we are living in, and make sure that when we diagnose these situations, we will have the proper action for it. So what do we mean by adaptable leadership? And let me ask the audience this question. So let's get people involved, just not listening to me, Nihal. So what do we mean by adaptable leader? There are kind of a key word there. So let's ask them, and let's see if anybody is interested to write anything on the chat. Or...
Yeah, so everybody can type on the chat and we'll be able to see.
Yeah.
So Floyd answered, he said that leaders that can adjust to the situation right away.
Lovely. It has a couple of the keywords. Good. So let's give the chance for one or two more before we give like kind of. Okay.
Siraj. Yeah.
Yeah, a leader who can carry their team through smooth transitions. Very interesting. Flexible leaders. Lovely word. Flexible. Good. Thank you, Ahmed, for that. Okay. Well, the three, let's say I have one definition that will combine the three definitions that we just got from Floyd, Siraj, and Ahmed. Adaptable leaders, or adaptable leader, is the practice that you will mobilize people. So it's about the people that you have, because at the end, if you are a leader without people who are working with you, you are not a leader. So it's mobilizing the people that you are working with to be able to tackle the tough challenges, because it's all about the challenges, the hard time that all of us are facing, and be able to flourish from that situation and get on with that situation. So it's very simple words, but it has the key words: mobilizing people, because it's about the people, and be able to get these people with you to move on, tackling the tough challenges or situations that you will be facing as a leader with their team, and being able to perform and flourish and get the outcome that you are looking for. So three key words that will define what do we mean by an adaptable leader or an adaptable leadership. So let's get a little bit more about how or by what these leaders can help other people work around this situation, or let's call it a tough, challenging situation. So I will just call it from now on a tough, challenging situation. Mobilizing them, and what do we mean by mobilizing people? Allowing them to perform, supporting them with whatever they need in terms of the resources, in terms of the let's say, the mental support as well, the emotional support, and the actual operational support that they will need. So it's not only, I will say, give my team, okay, a task in a challenging situation. I will tell them, okay, just perform. It's my responsibility as an adaptable leader to be able to give them all the resources, all the facilities that they will need to be able to perform. Then it will go to the motivational part of it. And you need to motivate these people. Again, a challenging, hard situation that you are living in. And you need people to keep moving on with whatever they are doing to be able for your organization to work. So you need to make sure that you are motivating them. You need to make sure that you are there to support them mentally and emotionally. Organizing them as a leader, it's your job at the first place to make sure that you are organizing your team, making sure that your team understand what they are going to work with, what they need to do, and what you are expecting from them to do, especially with the situation, the current situation, because this is going to happen anyway as a leader. But with the challenging situation, it needs more attention from you as a leader to be able to understand these situations. Orienting them, that's the definite, because when you have a situation that people are really uncertain about and they don't know what's really going to happen and what changes are going to come from the organization, from the country, from the regulation, whatever, you need to make sure that you are there to make sure that, yes, this is going to happen, or no, I don't know what's going to happen here, but we are all as a team are going to perform whenever we need. So the orientation that you need to give to your team and make sure that they understand what they are going to do. It's very important. That's the first thing you need to do. And everybody could remember what happened when we first got the instruction from the government for the lockdown, and everybody went home and everybody was uncertain what's going to happen, what we are going to do, how we are going to perform. And that was the missing, let's say, in some of our organization, there were a missing orienting your people how they are going to work under this situation and under these challenges. So that's very important to be attention to that. You need to make sure you get to people a little bit relaxed on terms of what's going to happen. Even if you don't know the answer, or even if you don't know it, at least them seeing you, understanding that this is a critical, and you at least assuring them that whenever an information there, you are going to give it to them, and you are there to support them whenever they need. They can reach you at any time. This is going to give them a little bit of ease on what's really happening. And then the most important thing is making sure that you are focusing their attention on what's really important for the current situation that we have. Because in all means, you need to make sure that your people are focused on the important task and project and assignment that you are giving to them. But with challenging situation, some people might divert from you, especially when they are uncertain or uncomfortable, or they don't know really what's going to happen. So people might, you might lose them. So you need to make sure that on a daily basis, making sure that their attention is focused on what you are targeting them to do within that situation. So it's very important that you put all of these in mind, because they are, again, as I said, it's all leadership tasks in the first place. But with adapting to a certain situation, you need to make sure that you are focusing more on these things more than you need to even. Okay, so the process of adaptable leadership. There are three main steps, if I have to say, or three processes that you need to make sure that you have in mind as a leader to be able to get your team around a certain activity, a certain project, or a certain assignment that you are working on. As I mentioned earlier, the first thing is observation. You need to make sure that you and your team, of course, because you are involving your team in all of these steps with you. You need to make sure that you are observing the trends around you happening either in your field or your sector or in the country in general. You need to look at what's really happening in terms of the events, what's really happening in terms of the challenges that other people are facing like you and how they are reacting to it. the information that you can get from the organization or from the government or from the country around you, or even from your colleagues around the country. So observation is very important. Look around and make sure that you are grabbing all the information that you need. Because nobody is performing in the world by themselves. And this pandemic have shown us that the whole world is all together in any situation that could happen. So observation, make sure that you get the knowledge that you want, make sure that you look around for patterns that's happening around you and get whatever you need. And then diagnosing, that's the stage of diagnosing and getting to interpreting what are you observing. So interpretation, okay, I have the information, I observed, I looked, I gathered the information, I got everything that I need from around me. So now I will start to, what do I do with this information? Do I need to develop multiple plans, one plan, one backup plans, or 3 or 4 plans or hypotheses or scenarios to be able to work with any situation could come? Because one of the audience now that said, I mean, adaptable leadership is flexible leaders. So you need to be kind of a flexible and what you are going to react to a certain situation. So from all the information that you gather, you need to have multiple plans, not only one plan and a backup plan or one plan and a couple plans, multiple scenarios, multiple interpretation of how you are going to work around any certain situation that you are going to facing in the coming few days. So that will be your strategy, and you will go on to intervention. So now I'm going to work on all of these observation, my multiple plans or my multiple scenarios or the hypothesis that I have, and I will start working on how I'm going to face these challenges, identifying them and act on them. So it's a kind of a circle, and you will, of course, you will go again and review what you have done and get in that circle, because with the current situation, it will be a continuous circle until we get out of at least a little bit easy within the situation of the pandemic. So it's really very important that not you as a leader only will be able to adapt yourself and have this skill and work around this process. You also need to involve your team in this. And you need also to make sure that your people understand that this is what you are doing as a leader, and they need to be involved in that as well as a leader. It's not only you. Okay. So as a leader, as an adaptable leader, there are certain things that you need to put in mind and look at when you think of yourself as a leader. Let me just, okay, perfect. Okay, so the first thing is your traits or behavior that you need to have as a leader, as an adaptable leader, is the ability to link the organization change to what's really happening around you, your value, your abilities as a person, and also your team, your strategy and target of your stakeholders of the organization, and also your team. So how you are going to link all of this together and make sure that you are in line with all of it. So because you are not going to work by yourself as a leader. You have an organization, you have a team to work with you, and in the middle you are. So you need to make sure that all of these three are connected together in the process of the changing happening around everybody. Then you need to have the capacity to create the environment for impressing diversity between your people, views, taking advantage from your team, their expertise and their experiences and all this. So make sure that you have that ability to learn from people around you. Again, at the end, it's not you as a leader. You are in between two, let's say, like two kind of your team and your organization. The third point will be understanding that change can really be a painful process. So it's not going to be an easy road. It's not going to be a pinky road. It's very hard. The change, when it comes, it affects everybody. And this pandemic, when it came, it affected everybody, the whole world, not only organizations and businesses. So it's not going to be easy. So you need to make sure that you are strong enough to keep yourself motivated to go on with this process, because you are at the end motivating your people and your team. Understand that the large scale change is a gradual process. So it's not like today I'm going to implement something and tomorrow I'm going to have the result out of it. I need to make sure that I understand that it's going to be gradually. People will gradually understand what's really happening, similar to what happened with COVID. So people at the end weren't really sure what's going to happen. And then within the process of the change, people understand that we need to take the precaution measurement and all of this stuff, and getting a lockdown, all these are. So it's a gradual process. People will need to move on with you on that. Being proactive, looking for opportunities. As an adaptable leader, you need to make sure that you always observing, because that comes with observation. Always look for opportunities, always look for things that could make it different, could make a change, could benefit your team and your organization. Admit it when you have a mistake, when you don't understand something, when you don't know something, because at the end you are human. But admitting it and looking for the information, looking for whatever you need to be able to learn or gather as an information to fix whatever you have. It's not the end of the world, but it could happen. Being open to taking risk. With the opportunity comes some risk, because you are looking for new things, you are looking for new changes that's happening, and you have to adapt to it. So looking for being and open for taking risk is very important, because your team will look for you, will look at what you are doing, will look at what you are acting. So they will understand if my leader is taking risk and is open to taking this, then we also could make the same, and we also could look at the same and being on the process with the team. And then encouraging innovation among your employees and your team. Opportunities, taking risks, and encouraging innovations. That will give you the best powerful team that you can work with, and will give you the skill of being adaptable at the end. We all know what really happened, and how a great example of adaptable leaders who made the change happened. Let's say within 6 months or less, we were as a country one of the best in dealing with the pandemic, and managing and making sure that people are really understanding what's really happening, and working around the hour to make sure that everyone is going to settle down. So that's an example of an adaptable leader, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. They made it very clear, not only to the United Arab Emirates, to the whole world, how adaptable leader could be a great example for their team and for their people. And everybody was behind them, because they saw what they are doing. They were having all the trait and behavior of an adaptable leader. And so people were trusting them and moving on with them. They didn't hesitate for a second, because they understand and they see what's really happening. And you can, this is some of their comments together. When I read these comments, I think, we are blessed here in the country that we have such leaders who are adaptable to the change that's really happening around us, and making sure that the health of the people who are living on this country are at the top of their priorities. Okay, quick tips on me as a leader. How can I move on from a normal leader who is leading a team of individual employees to being an adaptable leader? Being confident in my opinion and in myself. Within the organization, you need to make sure that I trust myself if I have an opinion. I will voice out my opinion to people and make sure that people understand what's my opinion and what I have. I prepare myself for voicing my opinion. So it's not, okay, I have a new idea, this is a great idea and I want to do that, and that's it. I need to have a plan of how I'm going to do that idea, what resources I will need for that idea, and how what's my backup plan for that idea. So confident in myself, confident in my opinion, and at the same time, I have a plan to be able to. So it's not just voicing things and letting people, okay, what's next? What are you going to do next? My opinion, confident in it, voice it out, and have my plan with it. And both of it will get me to be an adaptable leader. Asking question. There is no shame in asking question and saying, I don't know. People sometimes feel that, okay, people will look at me weird, or they will not trust me, or they will think that I'm not worth being a leader if I ask question. I said, okay, I don't know this information, I need to ask question. It's totally normal. I ask my employee all the time question if I don't understand something. Okay, this is happening, I don't know, how can I do it, or what do we need to do it? So tell me, you are the expert, because they are on the ground, they know what's really happening, and they understand what's going on a daily basis. As a leader, you will have the big picture, but you don't know, maybe you don't know the small details. Ask question and get the answer from the people who really know it. You can't know everything in the whole world at the end. Keep learning. That's the key word. Keep learning. I mean, if you stop learning, you will stop leading. And I just posted this in my Instagram today, and people ask me, leading what? Leading yourself, leading your team, leading your organization, leading your country. So keep learning. Learning is the key word that will make you understand things around you. Reading, getting yourself to conferences, getting yourself to training, getting yourself to specialized certification. Keep learning and keep getting the information that you need from every possible opportunity. And that will get you to, let's say, reduce the amount of being, I don't know, to, yes, I have this information. Maybe I don't have the full information, but at least I have the basic information about it. And then I will ask more questions. So the key word for any leaders on this earth is to keep learning. Practicing strategy thinking. Put yourself, when you are in a situation and you need to find a solution, put yourself on the position of the people who are in a leadership position higher than you, and ask yourself this question: how that person will react in such situation, how that person is going to find a solution for such situation, and think the way that they are thinking strategically. It's not easy in a way, because you will not be able to find the solution that they will find, or you will not be able to reform the solution that they will form. But at least you are practicing the strategic thinking to get yourself in the position of an adaptable leader and be able to think the way they are thinking. So think of that person in my position, how they are going to act. Plan, that's another keyword. So if I'm going to say a golden keywords, it's a keep learning and planning. You always need to have a multiple plans. Plan 1, plan 2, plan 3, plan 100, plan 1 million. The multiple plans will allow you to adapt easily to the situation that might come your way surprisingly. So you don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows that we will have the COVID-19. Nobody knows that the whole world will be on a lockdown for more than 3 or 4 months. So that's a situation nobody was prepared for. So making sure that you have several plans, making sure that you have multiple plans, multiple scenarios, that will allow you to shift very easily between a situation and another. Yes, you will not have the full capacity to perform, but at least you will be able to move easily between situations and adapt yourself to the change that's going to happen. And then you start building on the plan that you are working on. Standing out between your colleagues, making sure that you are positively appearing in the way that you are dressing, speaking, acting, communicating, offering your help to other people, to be able to be part of everybody's life within the organization. That will allow you to stand as an adaptable leader, because they will understand that you can adapt easily to the change if you are in. Accept the responsibility when you have one within the organization. It's important that you are willing to accept it. Either you had a fault, you made a mistake, or you don't know any information. Make sure that you accept that, and make sure that, yes, I don't know, yes, that's a mistake I've done, yes, this is something wrong happened, but this is my plan for how I'm going to fix this, or how I'm going to deal with the situation. Being trustworthy for your team and for yourself, for people to come and make sure that they will trust your opinion, they will trust your judgment, they will trust giving you some information and making sure that these information are confident. So that a person that I'm going to, and I trust I will find the solution, I will trust that I will be able to communicate with, I will trust that he or she are going to support me. At the end, be authentic, be yourself. You don't have to be the star and the wow person. Just be yourself and work on yourself with all these steps that could help you or will help you to be able an adaptable leader and be able to deal with the people around you and be able to communicate with your team. Because I'm a person who love reading, I mean, I adore reading. That's one of the things in my life that make me go on with life. These are some of the books that people could go to read about the leadership adaptability and how you can get into that position of being an adaptable leader. One of the best of them is the adaptive leadership that will give you tools, techniques, and a lot of strategy of how to be. And then there are the other two, Leadership Online and Leadership. These are good books for people who are interested in books and love reading and would like to read more about the topic. And I always end any session, any workshop, any training, anything I do in my life with a quote to Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan al-Hayyan, Allah yarhamah, because if you look to his word and his wisdom, you will always find something related to anything in your life. This is related to the situation that we are currently living in. Future generation will be living in a world that is very different from that to which we are accustomed. So it is very essential that we prepare ourselves and prepare our children for that new world. And I don't think there is a different world than what's really happening in the whole world now for the past 8 months of all the changes that happened very quickly for people. And people needed to really adapt as much as possible and as much as quick as they can. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I didn't pass my time. I think, Nihal, I'm on time. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Now you have some Q&As. You'll take
Yes.
you.
Yes, please.
All right, perfect. I already saw in the chat, someone asked you a question while you were talking. So
okay.
Comes from Brian. And he says, when asking questions, you said to ask people who are on the floor. Should I ask people on my team?
Yes, definitely. People on your team, people in other teams, whoever have the information that you need, you can ask them. Myself, I ask my team. I have like around 19, 20 people. And I always ask them questions from the officer to the manager. I ask anybody within my team if I don't know something. Yes, ask people on the floor, definitely.
And you've got another question from the Q&A tab from an anonymous. And
okay.
They are asking, how will you motivate employees or your team who are really affected by the current situation?
Okay, I mean, the first thing is to show that you really feel them and you really understand the current situation that they are in and everybody is in, and making sure that you make yourself available for them to support mentally and emotionally. And then whatever in your hand as a leader to be able to support them in terms of the situation, I mean, the job, the flexibility of timing. So you will know what's the situation, you'll be able to support them in it. But for your people to be able to see that you are there for them and they trust that whenever they needed something, they will come to you, even if you don't have the power to do it, but they understand that you will try for them, that will get them to be motivated to be able to perform or do the job or be around you as a leader.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it a few more minutes for anyone else who has a question.
Yeah, sure.
But basically, you know, how do you feel? Like I have this is something I was thinking about while you were talking. So, you know how like, okay, this is a bad, like, you know, how it was kind of a bad situation, like this whole COVID situation, you know, like even though you feel like people are trying to hype you up, kind of try to tell you to move past it, you know, you still feel like there's like a wall, like okay, you still can't pass it, you know, like okay, I'm gonna get like someone might tell me, like my boss might tell me, okay, you know, we can do this, we can get past this, but you know, then you're brought back down again because you know you're not in that, you're still not motivated enough, you know. What
Yeah,
do you think is that
yeah.
further push, you know, because I still feel like I need a further push all the time, like I'm just forcing myself to go through.
Everybody is forcing themselves to go through because nobody was ready for such situation. But I mean, usually, personally, and when I think about it, I think from that position. I mean, this situation or this pandemic wasn't there before. Okay, so it just came now, and we like it or not, it's going to end one day or another. So
Yeah.
it's not like our reality forever. It's going to end. So just keep myself, okay, Abeer, get on, work with your team, work with your whatever you have in your hand, because this is going to end one day. When? Okay, you don't know. So at least prepare yourself to celebrate. So I had my plan of celebration whenever this is going to end. So I'm just looking for that. So
Yeah.
keep yourself motivated with the things that you love, you like, to be at the end of all of this. Okay,
Yeah.
when it ends, I have 1, 2, 3 plan. Okay, one of them is I'm going to go around the world, travel somewhere.
That was actually
So that's something. So I'm just keeping it for myself. Okay, one day I'm going to do this. When, I don't know, but I'm keeping myself. So I'm putting plans, I'm putting pictures and getting my plan written and with pictures and searching. I'm having a full plan for it.
Mm-mm.
So just keeping myself motivated with the things that I like to be able to do once it's done. Because you know these things comes and goes. Life goes on, and everything will end one day. So we
Yeah.
just need to keep ourselves motivated with it. It's not wrong to have your down days because at the end we are human. So you will have one day like, okay, today I fed up. I can't do anything. But make sure that you are not staying in that position for long. Just make sure that okay, tomorrow I'm fresh. I'm going to work on myself. Let's move on with this.
Yeah.
So up and downs until we are end with this pandemic, inshallah.
Okay.
Whoa, Brian.
Wow, Brian. Okay. You can read it.
Okay. I already asked another speaker on this panel about Michelle Jordan's style of leadership in this series. The Last Dance, he was considering a borderline psychopath who used to end up bad in practice. What do you think about the style? Is it always wrong to act as a jerk or piece of you know what, or it might be allowed to show that behavior at a time in some contexts? Okay, I'm not going to go to that extreme with whatever you described. Let's say sometimes you will need to be a little bit tough as a leader, yes, but not to that extreme, because then you are going to lose your, let's say, credibility and trustworthy with your team. So personally, I'm not going, I don't know about other people, but personally, I don't go to that extreme with people. No, I don't. I just make sure that I'm there for my team. I go with the leadership style of serving people and being able to support them. At the same time, make sure that my target and my KPIs as an employee is achieved. But going an extreme and being that hard with people, no, I never do it. No.
All right. There's two more questions in the Q&A tab from two anonymous attendees. I'll read the first one. I want to ask something. I don't know if it's relevant or not. Actually, I have done masters in business, so I want to study more abroad. So where I should apply?
Well, that will depend on you, because abroad is abroad. You have to decide where do you want to complete your study. What's your passion? That's the first thing. I mean, do you want to go abroad because there's something is offered there is not here, or you want to have a different experience? So it will all go back to you. You need to decide where you want to go and why you want to go to US, UK, and Canada. I can see that he or she had answered back. Why you want to go to these countries? What's there that's not here? What you have to have your full plan in front of you before deciding where I'm going and why I'm going and how I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a question right after. Is it normal right now also for employees also to be adaptable, like doing tasks for the team or company that they are not used to doing before? What can you say about that?
Yes, yes. I think it will show that future-wise you will be an adaptable leader. If you are an adaptable employee who are offering the support for other people, trying to learn something new, trying to get the knowledge and being able to be visible for everybody and support, that shows that future-wise you'll be a great adaptable leader because you are there for other people around you. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's the same person who asked about the abroad, says I would study and settle there.
Well, that's your decision. I have nothing to say about it.
So another one from Brian on chats.
Yeah.
He says, just an observation on my question, wrong or right as someone might find, people who have accomplished nothing or for lack of commitment and dedication will criticize both for being successful or for not being successful.
Okay, just an observation on my question, wrong or right, as someone might find, people who have accomplished nothing for lack of commitment and dedication will successful. Okay, so okay, again, this is from a personal level. Why do you care about people who are not achieving, and why don't you look at the people who are achieving and really making it to the position that they are looking for, or achieving their dreams, or making sure that they are there? So why you are looking at the negative side, why you don't look at the positive side? I mean, I'm putting the question for you back, Brian.
Let's give him time maybe to answer. Type down.
Yeah. Okay. I think there is also in the QA.
Yeah, there is another one. What do you think are the most important learnings or skills that leaders learned in this current situation that can still be applied once things will be back to normal?
Being adaptable leader, the flexibility and being able to change like this whenever a difficult or a challenge situation will appear. That's, I think, the most important learning skill that everybody, not only leaders, everybody have learned now, is being flexible to change and adaptable to the change.
And Brian, if you'd like, I could open your mic if you'd like to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody would like to talk, I can open their mics. They could just raise their hand and I can open the mic for them to talk or discuss. He replied now.
Okay. Interesting. That's interesting. I'm not really into basketball, so I'm not sure how these people are performing, Brian. But it's really interesting to know this information. That's something new for me. That's really interesting.
Yeah, he's referring to this Netflix show, The Last Dance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
that show. I got to
Mm,
see like how Michael Jordan was, like what was his mindset as a leader. Like, you know, like his main goal was
was
to win
to
all
win.
the time, all the time, you know, like
Yeah.
he would get so upset if he did not win. He
Yeah,
was,
but in another level, that will impact his health or your health as a person. That will impact the people around you who are working with you. I mean, win and fail is there. I mean, if you don't fail, you will not be able to win one time. So it's not only about winning. You need to also learn from failing. I mean, I understand that in this part of world, at least, I mean, failing is very something people are not used to it, and they can't grasp it, they can't live with. But we need to have that culture of understanding that failing is your next step for being a successful person. It's not, again, it's not a pinky life. You need to suffer a little bit to be able to go on with whatever you are going to achieve. So yeah, I understand.
yeah,
It's really difficult when you have leaders or organization that works on the level of only winning. That will be very tiring for people.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I feel like, you know, when you have like a kind of leader like that, it's like you're kind, I know you're like an employee maybe or underneath them, but it's kind of your job to explain to them how their mindset is affecting you, you know, like
exactly.
they, okay, you want to affect yourself, that's cool, but like it's hurting you too.
Impacting people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's impacting people around you. I mean, people will be in their toes to make sure that they are not going to do any mistake. They are not going to do anything wrong, and making sure that they are giving you the result that they are with. I mean, it's going to go very difficult on your people. Maybe some of them will be able to perform that way, but I mean, let's say more than 70 or 80% of them, you will lose them one way or another.
yeah,
Mentally, they will quit the job. I mean, it's really difficult.
definitely.
Yeah,
All right, we're almost done with the session.
yeah.
A few more minutes left. I'd like to thank you so much.
Thank you very much, dear. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you so much
It
for this
was,
very interactive session.
thank you very much. It was my pleasure. I really enjoyed it. I hope people at least get some benefit out of it and really enjoyed it.
I definitely enjoyed it. I loved interacting with you. I loved reading all the comments. Thank you also
Thank
to
you very
our
much.
lovely attendees for contributing, for watching, for attending. And yeah, it was a very amazing webinar.
Thank you very much. Thank
We're
you very much.
thanking you as well, Floyd, Izhan,
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, guys, attending and listening.
and Brian also.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And if you enjoy, where can they follow you if they'd like to keep up with?
Yeah, I have my Instagram, I have my LinkedIn, so it's with my name, Dr. Abeer Rasbi. So I think I shared it at the end of my screen,
Yeah.
so they can find me easily. I have my emails, I have my Instagram and my Twitter, my LinkedIn, my WhatsApp. So
All right.
I'm
Perfect.
there for people.
All right. So they can all, if anyone would like to contact or keep in touch with Dr. Abeer, you can check out any of these contacts so you can keep in touch with her. And if you'd like to book her through us, you can contact us through info@mina-speakers.com. And it was lovely having you all. I'll see you all in the next webinar session, inshallah. Have
Inshallah.
a lovely day and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.